No, it's a fantastic album. It was a great process of working, it, and it's still worth promoting. I would say that for sure. You know, at the time, really felt we were gonna be the next big thing because everybody was saying it. Everton believed in it so much. Paul was saying it. That's two different type of people. Paul was into his rock music and English music and everything and all of that. And Everton, he liked the classic reggae Jamaican music. And they were all saying that, boy, you're the next thing. When it comes to reggae and the spot that Bob Marley had, you're the next thing. So I was taking it like, of course, we're working hard, but I never felt stressed. I just felt to take it as it comes, you know. So when the studio attack happened, leading up to it, I had felt a kind of shift in energy, like the upbeat part of it was not working. I'd felt some kind of reluctance because days would go by before Paul would say, "Come to the studio," and this and that, and I was still expected to come and listen in on mixes, but there was no pay for me. Paul would be in the studio and he'd be getting paid, and I'd be in the studio. My only pay was from busking, and I kind of like made them aware of it, Everton and Paul. I said, "Look, I can't be in the studio mixing for all these hours and not getting paid because all these hours I'll be on the streets busking and make sure that I can pay my rent, you know." So my finances were starting to go down, and so it was while we were kind of like trying to work out what we're gonna do about it when I decided, okay, give it a bit of a break and focus on activism. And at that time, now I've got to tell you what happened. I managed to put on the show at the Mean Fiddler, and it was tremendous. It was great. It was well visited. Everton could not believe what I had done because I did it without without a single pound from him after I had been promised after I'd been promised £2,000. So you can imagine going from a budget of 2,000 quid, the biggest amount of money I'd ever even thought of while I was in London, to zero. Not only zero, the whole idea for me was that, okay, when Everton told me the story of how he'd been scammed by the South Africans, I was like, Lord Jesus, what now? Do I give up? But you know me and Rastafari, I don't give up. So I said, look, you know yourself, go busk. Make sure you have the money to rehearse the band, to pay for the venue, make the promotion. You did it before, you can do it again. And so I was at 12 Tribes one night, having a meeting with the members of 12 Tribe who were going to perform in the show. And I took the bus from Stratham Hill to go around Dulwich Way. I got off the bus and I was walking to my house, and I had my hands out and I was thinking, damn, my hands are cold. Let me just put them in my pocket so I can keep from freezing. And that's when it hit me that, you know what? I got both my hands in my jacket pocket. That's not what I usually do. I usually shift because one hand freezes while the other one holds my amp. That's when I realized that I'd left my amp on the bus. So now the road to making money for the show was that was it. Without the amp, I couldn't do it because it's winter time and my voice was not gonna do it by itself. Acoustic guitar was not gonna do it by itself. I needed the electric guitar. That's what got the people going in the winter. Uh, I saw my entire project, my entire dream go down the drain. My brother. So I told my problems to my girl, Wanda. Wanda is she just says, just, how much is such a how much cost? How much cost? Nigerian girl, How much it cost? Igbo girl. Says, nah, don't worry about that. She came up with the money and she bought me a brand new amp. And I played and made that money and I said, Wanda, I'll pay you back. I still haven't paid her back. There are a lot of people who I haven't paid back, and I have to pay them back. You know, that's why the album must promote the work that we put in. It has to be appreciated. We got to make some money. I got people to pay. I got a lot of goodwill that came my way that I got to pay. And it's not a joke. I can't use good people in that way and act like they didn't. There's a long list. I have a long list of people who need to get paid because they had faith in me, and I got to move all mountains, all angels, and all demons, and everything to make sure this happens. Whatever I got to do, I got to make sure that my people get paid. It's a long time ago. It's just the list just been growing and growing, you know. So those who can pray to lift the curse, I beg you pray because I will fast and pray whatever I can do to turn that thing around. It was an amazing, beautiful coincidence coming together to make that album. But from the moment that they attacked the studio, I've never been the same again, you know, because we were riding a wave of confidence that you just cannot believe. It was different. My brother Danny Nakimba, he had left the house and came and visited me one time, and I was there chilling with Wanda. And Wanda was a hardworking Nigerian girl. Her mother had a Mercedes Benz, so many times Wanda would come pick me up in this Merc, and when she picks me up, the album would be playing. So one time she came to pick me up, and we gave Kimber a lift, and Kimber was just looking at me and says, "What the fuck is going on? This album is playing and you being driven around by this beautiful girl in a Mercedes." Like, bro, what's up? So I'd kind of like arrived before it arrived. And then it happened. You know, the shit just happened. All went south. But God is there, and I've got copies of the album. I mean, I've got those mixes. And like I say, I've kind of like peppered them onto other onto other recordings that have happened since. You know, did you hear that? I hope not. It's in the mix. If you didn't, it's all right. Don't listen for it. um, so yeah, in my father's house is what it's called on Spotify, and that's my rock and roll story. And I'd like to do an album. Some songs went missing. There's a song called "Hello." it's gone missing. And then Sweetwater, we did a magnificent version of that one, and that went missing too. So sometimes I wonder, like, was Paul part of this thing? Like, what happened? Because some songs went missing, and there were some songs which I could see on Paul listening to a song like Sweetwater. He was like, wow. It was like, wow. You see? And then next thing I know, he says that no, it's gonna not gonna make the album. And I'm thinking, but you were proper impressed by this song, and it's not gonna make the album. So I started having doubts about stuff that was happening, and I was thinking, well, what's up, man? Like seriously, happens to. So I was eventually. Paul never wanted to meet with me after the attack, and I only saw Everton once or twice after the attack, and I just got more and more suspicious and afraid. So I had to go. First, I went to Berlin. Then after Berlin, I came back to London again, and this was after the album had been released by MKZWO. And while in London, I met a girl from Barcelona, and she convinced me to come to Barcelona to visit her, which I did. And I was happy for the sunshine, the Spanish people, the flamenco, the beach, but most of all, my safety. I didn't have to walk around thinking what the fuck is gonna happen because you know what they do in London is somebody like me with my talent and the music that I have, I can make it. Except if I don't have the firepower or the money, it can't do it. So when the attack had happened, I'd realized that I would have to do like my brethren had told me, start move with a posse, have guns, and to finance that posse, we would have to sell drugs and have a lawyer. Then I'd have the power to push through. Because you take the song to a DJ on the radio, and you can pay him £100 or maybe £200 for a certain rotation for him to play it. But people in the industry are watching it and they know about your album and they don't want you to move in on the market without them or without consulting them first. So what they do is they go pay the same DJ more money not to play your song. So the DJ gets paid twice. And he's cool with that because he get money from you to play, but he get money from somebody else not to play. And so if you don't have the money to counter that, that's you. And if you have the money and you counter it, you better have the firearms too. So I went to Barcelona and decided to focus on the walk because that was making waves anyway. You know, the story of the walk got me into the Voice newspaper, into other publications around London, and it got me accommodation, and so it opened doors for me. So I thought to myself, stick with the walk. The walk is your future.